The following is a presentation of Muddy River Sports.
Chris Duerr, we're here for another week of Mud Brothers Mayhem.
What madness might we talk about this time around?
We're going to talk about your incredible voice. No, wait. Somebody else's incredible voice.
Everybody else's incredible voice. By the way, I can't sing a lick.
Oh, I'm tone deaf. If you want to hear the dogs howl and the cats screech, just let me sing. And my wife will tell, because, okay.
Has there ever been a Matt Schuckman karaoke moment, ever?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, there were some stupid nights back in the Columbia days.
Yes.
You know, there were some bars in Columbia that,
Yeah,
we don't even want to remember those nights. But yes, I have gotten up and sang karaoke. Terrible, awful, horrible. And my wife can attest to this because I'll put my earbuds in at home when I'm writing and don't want to bother her. My home office is connected to the living room, and it's open space, so there's no door.
Yeah.
So part of it is so that I can see the TV if I want to put a ball game on.
Sure.
The problem is I put music on and put my earbuds in, and then I start singing.
Oh, poor Michelle.
And I don't realize how loud I get.
Yes.
And then I'll hear, hey, hey, hey! And what's wrong? Quiet down. Yep. Okay, sorry. I know exactly what she means because, yeah, I have no singing voice at all.
I have no singing voice at all, but for some reason on a cruise to Alaska, I decided in a room full of, let's just say, patrons who were all above the age of 80 at the time, I decided for my one karaoke turn to do a note-for-note Rick James Super Freak to the horror and abject disgust of every human being on that boat.
None of the grandmas.
They didn't really. They're apparently not Rick James fans.
That's a shame.
I'm going to refrain from any further Rick James references.
Probably a good call.
Yes.
Hey, but by the way, this is the Mud
Brothers podcast.
Brought to you by CDS Office Technologies. Our buddies taking care of us, making sure people actually will listen to us.
Speaking of listening,
yes.
Let's talk good voices.
Oh, okay, let's go.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to start? Let's start with favorite sports voices.
Oh,
and
you want to
go?
Okay.
Work our way to music.
Okay, you brought in the music idea. I brought in the sportscaster voice idea.
Yeah.
So today's episode is going to be all about voices.
Yes.
All right. Radio, TV.
Sure. Wherever in
So
space.
I'm going to throw one out that probably some people will be like, huh?
Yeah.
Because I think most people, when they think the biggies. Vin Scully, Jack Buck, they go down that list.
It's a pretty good list.
Oh, it's a great list.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. But one of the guys that I enjoy really listening to, and it's a guy I know, and so that probably has something to do with it.
Okay.
Mike Kelly.
Mike Kelly does a fantastic job.
Fantastic job calling the Mizzou Tiger games. Again, I was lucky enough when I covered the Tigers to get to know Mike, to have talked on some shows with him. He calls a phenomenal game.
He does. He's one of those humans, too, that when you hear his voice, he does not look in person like you think his voice would sound. That is kind of a Mike Kelly.
Yeah.
But he does such a great job on calls. And
no question.
I was forced to listen to the South Carolina feed on the way home from Jefferson City.
Yep.
And boy, did I miss Mike Kelly in that particular moment because it was bad.
So were you on X?
I was on satellite radio.
Satellite radio,
listening to the SEC broadcast, which unfortunately wasn't Mike Kelly. It was from the South Carolina standpoint.
Right.
So.
No, he would be high on my list. I don't know if he's my favorite voice of all time, but he's a guy I really, if I can turn on the radio for a game and hear him, I'm happy. I can listen and be great.
I picture you as the ultimate baseball on the radio guy in your youth.
Oh, without a doubt.
Somebody who sampled all of them.
Yes.
Did you ever have a favorite baseball announcer?
Jack Buck.
Okay.
I mean, that was a no-brainer. Being a Cardinals fan, you had the ultimate voice. Now, Vin Scully is the voice of baseball.
Sure.
Mel Allen is the voice of baseball. Like, I think those, and then you throw Jack Buck in there. I think those three, to me, are the upper echelon. Then there's a lot of good ones real close. And I can see this look on your face and I think I know where you're going with this based on the look on your face and knowing you.
Yeah.
Who do you want to throw in there?
I think I'm going to surprise you.
Okay.
If I picture the voice of God,
Okay.
if I picture it in my head, it sounds like Harry Callis.
Oh, okay.
Harry Callis, to me, was the greatest singular voice. Maybe not the greatest baseball broadcaster, but the voice that just resonated with such baritone depth. Like, if I could listen to anybody call a baseball game, anybody, just based on the quality of their voice, Harry Callis would be my choice.
Okay.
And I think he belongs on par with all of the greats in the history of the game.
I'm not going to argue that one with you.
Is it a fair point?
Very, very fair point.
Okay.
A very fair point. Okay, what about you? Anybody else that jumps out at you?
I grew up hating Los Angeles, but one of the few things that I never hated was Vin Scully. I don't think you can.
I don't think you can.
How did you feel about Cub broadcasters over the years?
Just couldn't stand them.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So Ron Santo drove you nuts.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
I always thought Pat Hughes did a nice job managing him, though.
Yeah, I thought so, too. Pat Hughes is a great voice.
Right.
Pat Hughes does a great job. The shtick of Harry Carey worked.
Yes.
I didn't think it was a great voice.
No, and I don't think anybody thought it was a great voice.
He was a shtick.
But it lent itself to some of the best imitations.
No doubt.
Starting with Will Ferrell and working your way across of all time.
You know. One of our guys from around here that did a lot of radio, Mike Moyers, does a great Harry Carey.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Mike Moyers has a great voice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that, to me, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, and again, I'll be honest with you, I've never listened to a whole lot of like NBA broadcasts.
Okay.
Just because I've never been a huge NBA fan. So
most of my NBA has all been Gary Gerald, who's also famous for doing racing.
Okay.
Because he's been the voice of the Sacramento Kings since about 1986, honestly, when they moved to town. And Gary Gerald is a legend. I don't know that Gary Gerald has the greatest voice in the world, but he is the voice that, for me, because of my attachment to the Sacramento Kings,
understandable,
is the voice I think about. I mean, I know a lot of people will say, well, was there an NBA voice? Of course there was. Chick Hearn would be one of them.
I mean, yes, that would be, that's an obvious one.
Right. And Chick Hearn did a great job.
Without doubt.
As much as I hated all things LA, you can't think of, basketball calls without thinking of Chick Hearn.
What about football?
For me, the ultimate football voice wasn't somebody who was on air. It was John Facenda.
There's no doubt about it.
And we were lucky enough to grow up at a time that I don't think kids today can appreciate with NFL films and just what an old school experience that was in the 1970s and the 1980s when it was at its heyday, mostly the 70s.
Yeah.
Growing up, and that was sort of our window to the football world.
No question about it.
And learned so much history from that as well, going back and still, the autumn wind is a Raider, or the autumn wind is a Pirate, but also as it was played out in Oakland, the autumn wind was a Raider.
I'll give you another college one, especially on the football scene.
Okay.
From the University of Illinois.
Yeah.
Brian Barnhart.
Does a very, very good job.
Very good job.
Yes.
We've
been pretty blessed.
We have been
in the Midwest here.
No doubt about it. And I guarantee there's some college announcers that we just haven't heard who have their niche. Whether it's I hear people talking. I can't think of a name right now.
I like Gary Dolphin.
Gary Dolphin does a very good job.
I don't listen to a lot of Iowa, but when James Vandenberg was there, I did.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I know there's a legendary Tennessee voice that I've heard people talk about. I don't know. I can't think of who it is off the top of my head. But I guarantee there's somebody at like Marshall University that is a legendary voice, and every school probably has one.
It's the way you consume it as a fan base, and I think I think the people that empirically stand above that, like some of the people you mentioned with baseball, that becomes a different animal.
I will go back. I can think of my favorite college football voice. It just, you start talking to this and you don't think of somebody, and then it like hits you, and it's like, well, that's the voice. For me, that's the voice.
Yeah.
Keith Jackson.
Keith Jackson was amazing.
He's the voice of college football. For me, there's no one else.
So every Sunday morning, it's Saturday morning, I think it is, I record CBS Morning Show because they always have great food features. They have a live band. And they always do a sports feature that I'm always interested in. And I always record it reflexively. And this week it was Brent Musburger.
Oh, yeah.
And I haven't seen Brent Musburger in forever.
Because they were celebrating 50 years of NFL Today.
And I hadn't seen him. And he still looks awfully great.
86 years old.
Yeah. But to remember him, You're Looking Live.
Yeah.
That was, and you grew up a Cowboy fan, so there was a lot of that with him and Irv Cross. And,
without a doubt.
Phyllis George and, Jimmy the Greek. And that was always the setup for big Cowboy games, is you heard those voices.
And it's funny because you think about it, late 70s, early 80s, there weren't very many female sportscasters.
There were not. No.
But everybody appreciated Phyllis George.
They did, yes. And she was sort of the groundbreaker in that industry.
Like, she was the one that nobody went.
They invented the concept of a studio show.
Yeah.
So it was, But it was really cool to see Brent Musburger again. Still sharp as a tack, lucid as ever, and that was a fun watch. I got to watch it on Sunday morning because I actually had it DVR'd.
Yeah, so I know you want to get to musical voices.
Sure.
But I want to throw one more voice thing at you.
Okay.
If you had the opportunity to have someone voice the story of Chris Duerr's life, who would be the narrator of the story of your life? Who would you want to have that voice be the guy that sat there and...
So I know this is not going to be the answer you probably expect, because a lot of people would say Morgan Freeman.
I think everybody thinks that Morgan Freeman is the answer to that for everybody, because he's not for me.
No, not for me either. Mine is actually a guy who's better known for his acting than he is, and he does a lot of the HBO voice work, and I think Liev Schreiber's voice is just absolutely incredible. I've seen him do sports documentaries. There's a certain, resonance to his voice that I just love. How about you?
Robert Mitchum.
Wow, hard to beat Bob Mitchum, dude.
I mean
that's a voice
that plays into my love of westerns.
Sure.
My love of the Wyatt Earp story.
Sure.
No,
that's a really great choice. That doesn't.
I mean, he's the voice at the end of Tombstone.
Right.
Well,
right, and talking about Tom Mix crying.
Yes.
That's a really good call.
Robert Mitchum would be one. Sam Elliott might be one too.
Sam Elliott's voice is very, very, very cool. By the way, Sam Elliott, native of Sacramento, California.
Sam Elliott, who is going to be in season 2 of Landman. Have you seen Landman?
I have not seen Landman yet, although the clips that I've seen, like I saw the interview, and I know you're not a fan of Jerry Jones right now, nor is any Cowboy fan.
No.
But the clip I saw of his appearance there, it looks like it's really interesting. I just haven't had a chance to work there yet.
If you get on, obviously, Taylor Sheridan production, strictly on Paramount Plus.
Yes.
If you get the opportunity, I again, there's one show on Paramount Plus that I fell absolutely in love with, and that was SEAL Team.
I didn't even hear of SEAL Team.
SEAL Team was started on CBS. I believe first 2.5 seasons were
Anybody I'd know in it?
Yeah, and again, of course, my mind just goes absolutely blank.
Sure.
David Boreanaz.
Oh, yeah, okay, yes.
Yeah. So
very familiar.
Yes. So he's the lead guy, Jason Hayes. It started on CBS, I think, for 2.5 seasons. Then in the middle of season 3, they switched it to Paramount Plus. It ended up going 7 full seasons.
Okay.
Arguably, it's probably in my top 5 favorite TV shows of all time.
Wow, that's very high praise. Okay.
So, but again, Paramount Plus has got a lot of good stuff. Not trying to be a ad salesman here.
No, I get it.
But Sam Elliott's going to be a character in season 2 of Landman. I saw that released recently.
You've seen, no doubt, The Big Lebowski.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Dude.
One of the great, I guess you could call it a cameo, because the cowboy is there in 2 scenes, essentially.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So, yes, Sam Elliott is up there. I can't believe I didn't think of Bob Mitchum. That's a really good one.
The dude abides.
Let us talk some music.
Okay,
and these
let's
don't have
go.
to be our favorite singers.
Okay.
Somebody whose voice that you think is just incredible. What genre do you want to start with? I'm willing to go just about anywhere with you. I know you're a big rock guy. Do you want to start there?
I would say
the quintessential male and female voice in rock.
The voice that jumped out at me when you said this before we started recording our podcast, and we kind of threw some ideas at each other about what we wanted to talk about. I had one voice pop in my head like that.
Okay.
Classic rock.
Classic rock.
Bob Seger.
Bob Seger has an amazing voice.
Yeah, that's the first voice that popped in my head.
So I know he gets compared a lot with Springsteen, who does not have a classic voice.
No.
It's a utile voice.
Yeah.
And Springsteen gives you energy. Seeger gave you the pipes.
Yes, to me, without a doubt.
And that's a really good call. I'm going to go a little more modern.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people, when they talk about like hard rock, they generally talk about Robert Plant's voice.
Yeah.
They talk about Freddie Mercury's voice.
Again, I can't dispute either of those. I mean, they've got fantastic pipes. They're not my favorites by any means, but
I think there's one guy that I think of instantly.
Okay.
Whose voice rivals theirs.
with hard rock.
Yes.
Okay.
The late great Chris Cornell.
Okay.
From Soundgarden.
Okay.
Who does, and if you've seen any of his like cover work, like covering Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor, originally by Prince Rogers Nelson. I just think Cornell's voice.
Everything comes around to Prince. Everything comes around to Prince.
I'm not mentioning Prince as one of the great voices.
No, you didn't, but it comes around. Yeah. You just had to mention Prince in there somewhere.
He wrote a great song. But Cornell's voice came from on high, and it sounds like it descends into you with that scream. When he was with Soundgarden, with the stuff he did later in his career, it's a voice that cuts through all of the noise, which is really hard to do when your milieu is about making noise.
There are some voices I really like that maybe aren't as good now as they once were.
Okay.
Axl Rose.
Well, Axl Rose's voice is shot.
It's shot now, but when Guns N' Roses was in its prime, dude could sing.
What do you think about James Hetfield's voice? Because that's another one.
It's haunting.
It comes from a different place.
It does. It's haunting. He's got that growl and that, it's a different kind of voice, kind of like Eddie Vedder.
Eddie Vedder's voice comes from somewhere else completely.
Exactly.
And I was never a huge Pearl Jam guy.
And see, I was a big Pearl Jam fan.
And my stuff is sort of more personal, being a Mother Love Bone fan, and then Andrew Wood dying, and then Eddie Vedder inheriting that band. But Eddie Vedder was a guy who was a Fugazi fan, and his voice kind of it doesn't sound like punk,
right?
But what he does kind of mimics the punk that you got from Fugazi.
Yeah.
So, it's just that kind of a different animal. How about country? Do you have favorite country voices?
See, I don't know if I have a favorite country voice. I have favorite artists.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think beyond that when it comes to voices.
How about Chris Stapleton? Is that a voice that
that would be up there really high.
That has a lot of warmth to it.
Oh yeah, dude that could sing the phone book.
Yeah.
And I'd listen. Because there's a lot of good country singers and a lot of great country songs that the voice though that just doesn't grab you.
No, I get it.
And again, I think for me, like Vince Gill's got a great voice.
Vince Gill does have a great voice.
But it's not the kind of voice I like to listen to day in and day out.
No, but when you hear the voice, you think that's a great voice.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel similarly about like Alison Krauss.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
Yeah.
But maybe if you're talking female voices, maybe Martina McBride for me might be my favorite voice.
I think my favorite voice in country is probably Casey Musgraves, and I know she's bat guano hot on top of everything else, so that shouldn't count for anything. But her voice sounds like maple syrup to me.
Chris Stapleton's one that's right up there.
Okay.
And again, there's some old school voices that I really like.
Sure. George Jones.
Conway Twitty.
Conway Twitty had a great voice.
Again.
Johnny Cash. And I like Johnny Cash when Johnny Cash's voice broke.
And see, I don't think he has a great voice.
Okay.
He's got some great music, but I don't think he had a great voice. Same with like Elvis. Elvis didn't have a great voice, in my opinion.
It was a different voice.
It was different.
Yes.
It's just, and again, I like those deep growls. And, and again, Chris Stapleton comes on. I really like Eric Church, you know that.
I do, yes.
I've become a huge fan of Eric Church. So, there's lots of pieces to the puzzle. But, again, outside of Chris Stapleton, and obviously love his voice, I don't know if I have a single, I have favorite country artists.
Right.
I don't know if I have a favorite country voice.
Okay, that's fair. How about more poppy, or do you want to do R&B? Are there any R&B voices, even old school, like an Otis Redding, that for you, Ray Charles's voice? Is there something?
Again, no, I don't know if there's a voice out there And again, you know me, I don't listen to much pop.
Right. I do.
I know you do.
I listen to probably everything.
Yeah,
probably
I know.
too much of everything for my own good.
Okay, do you have one?
For a pop voice, off the top of my head, I'm trying to. I think, if you talk about popular music, I force myself to really like Joni Mitchell and appreciate her voice. Again, I'll go back because that Prince was such a huge fan, and when I was growing up and influenced by Prince, Prince was the biggest Joni Mitchell fan, and so I listen to Blue, and I consider Blue an incredible album. It's not something I want to listen to, or it's not my chosen, but I think Joni Mitchell had an incredible voice. I'm trying to think of some others that kind of pop out pop-wise. I mean, R&B, I really always liked Maxwell's voice. I thought he had, even better than Prince, even better than Philip Bailey with Earth, Wind, and Fire. I thought Maxwell has probably the all-time great falsetto of anybody I've ever heard.
See, I can't even think of what Maxwell's voice sounds like.
Well, he did a cover of Kate Bush's This Woman's Work, which sounds more female than even Kate Bush's voice sounded at the time.
Yeah, you're a little more eclectic in your musical taste than I am.
Sure.
I'm pretty stick to these genres, and these are the ones I listen to.
Is there a female rock voice that you love?
Ooh. Pat Benatar.
Pat Benatar is one of those ones. How do you feel about Stevie Nicks?
Maybe.
Is it too mystical?
No, I like her voice. Maybe the most mysteriously sexy woman in all of rock.
Okay.
There's just something sexy about Stevie Nicks.
Well, that defines her whole career.
Yeah, it does. I think more people would tell you that Christine McVie has a better voice.
Well, I think that's probably fair.
And
if you look back, how amazing was Fleetwood Mac just as a collection?
Incredible.
Lindsey Buckingham is mind-blowing.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
No, you're right. That's a really good place to play.
But that's a really good question on the female voices of rock.
Yeah.
Because some people will think of, and the ones that pop in mind are, I just don't think of a great voice.
Yeah.
Susanna Hoffs, the lead singer of the Bangles, didn't have a great voice, but their music was good.
Yeah, I would agree.
Lita Ford.
Lita Ford was the hard rock voice for a while.
She was the hard rock kind of goddess.
Yeah, and she had that scrawl that kind of worked for her within, again, cutting through the noise, which is really hard in that genre.
Yes. So, I think there's a lot of great voices.
Is there a classic, like an old school, do you like Sinatra's voice? Do you like Dean Martin's voice?
They're okay. I mean, they're nothing that grabs me.
Okay.
Tony
Bennett, nothing like that?
They're all fine.
Okay.
I
know that's not your favorite music, but I'm curious if there's anything that ever stops you.
There is, and I think a lot of people would be like, really? When they hear this. But there's stuff I've listened to and watched on YouTube a lot.
Okay.
There's a couple voices in the group that I really like, but it's Celtic Thunder.
Oh yeah, I get it.
And I like some of those old Irish shanties and there's a couple songs that are pretty haunting. Just with the drums and the bass and. There's some voices in that group, and my mind's going blank on the one guy who I'm thinking of. I can picture him. He's got this really deep voice. That would fall in me, because so I do listen to some stuff on Spotify.
Okay.
But when I'm in my home office, it's usually because I'm on the laptop doing work and stuff. I throw stuff up on YouTube and just let it play. I've got different mixes on my YouTube channels.
Depending upon your mood.
And obviously the main ones, there's a lot of hard rock, 80s hair band, Van Halen, Shinedown, that kind of stuff. And then I've got an Eric Church mix that throws some other country in.
I can't believe I didn't ask you about Kenny Rogers.
Oh, Kenny Rogers is the voice of my childhood.
Yeah, Kenny Rogers.
My mom's favorite artist. When we got married, Michelle and I got married, she danced to a Beatles song with her dad.
Okay.
Which fits him. He was a hippie, 70s guy,
Sure.
I danced to a Kenny Rogers song with my mom.
Gotcha.
So, again, growing up, my dad loved Roy Orbison.
That might be one of the greatest voices of all time.
My mom loved the Statler Brothers,
Okay.
Kenny Rogers.
Yeah.
So that was the kind of music being played in our house. And then here I come along, and and like my older brothers and sisters, my older sister Julie was a Billy Joel fan to this day. I mean, the sun rises and sets with Billy Joel in her mind.
New York State of Mind is pretty good to listen to.
It is. You know, for me, so here, you know, my brother was a huge Styx fan.
Okay.
You know, so
Dennis DeYoung.
yes.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and that was a unique voice.
Oh,
and they
without
did
a
some
doubt.
very unique things.
They
in
did,
that,
and they
yes.
went, and it got a little weird at times.
The Mr. Roboto.
Mr. Roboto,
Yeah.
but some of their music's really, really good. And Jack Shaw, when he's with Damn Yankees, is really good. Yeah, so I mean, I listened to a bunch of different stuff growing up, but the funny part is, so you had Kenny Rogers, and you had, you know, the Gatlin Brothers, and the Statler Brothers, and all that playing in our house. And then I come along, and it's Guns N' Roses, Metallica, you know, obviously Van Halen.
Yes. So you kind of what you did with Kenny Rogers, in my household, it was Neil Diamond.
Okay.
So, which, you know, Angie had never heard Love on the Rocks as late as 2 days ago. Because, yes, I broke into that for some reason for her. Terribly, I can assure you. She like, who? I said, I'll give you 5 guesses who wrote that song.
Yeah.
She didn't have a clue.
Wow.
It's like, there's a lot of, you know, and I don't, Neil Diamond's voice was just very unique.
Yeah.
So, again.
No doubt. Speaking of voices.
Yes, sir.
When you were starting in this business, did you try to emulate anybody's voice? Like
I was told,
and I'll give this story before you answer.
Yeah.
So our good buddy here at Muddy River News, Bob Goff.
Yeah.
I went to do a radio game with Bob one time, and it was at Monroe City. So we're in the corner of the press box. We're ready to go, and Bob and I are talking off air. We're getting all set up, right? Then it goes go time, and his voice changed.
Really?
And I was like, what? It's good, you know. And I'm like, I can't say anything, so he goes, and you know. And then I don't know if I asked it in a commercial break or at some point, and I go, what is with this? He goes, that's my radio voice. What do you mean your radio voice? And he did. I don't think he does that anymore when he does the podcast.
that was
and stuff.
the era he came up in.
Yes.
Our era was don't do that.
Yeah.
And, you know, my voice has always sounded like my dad's voice.
Okay.
Which also sounds like my son's voice, which is why my son can do a spot-on imitation of me and an even better imitation of Tom Duerr.
Yeah.
But so this voice is all, now it changes when I'm on air a little bit, you know, for whatever reason, but we never really imitated. There were a lot of voices I admired.
Right.
You know, just going through the business and then there were people that you'd go to J school with, and you'd hear their voice, and you go, "Man, I wish I had that set of pipes."
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But no, I think we always tried to be really unique, for better or for worse. And some of the early days were definitely for worse. But you know, that's the business. And
I still remember the first time I heard a recording of myself doing color analyst on a radio broadcast.
the most disconcerting thing ever.
Yes. I sound like that?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, whoa. And then somebody come up to me and say, oh, it sounded great. And I'm going, no, it didn't.
Yeah. I don't sound like
I
that.
don't
Do
sound
I?
like that. Oh, I sound like that? Oh. But
We've been blessed in this market. We've had people with great voices who've come through here and done incredible things.
No
And,
question.
I mean, I think we get spoiled a lot in this market, and sometimes we forget about it, like growing up with radio for you, with listening to ball games.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the heyday.
I mean, it was, for me, radio broadcast helped me look. It enhanced my love of baseball. I loved baseball to begin with.
Sure.
But listening to Jack Buck on the little transistor radio in the bedroom, falling asleep with the game on, and my mom or my dad coming in and turning the radio off as they went to bed, you know, that it doesn't get any better than that.
I think it also teaches us from a very early age how to tell a story.
No doubt.
Because the great baseball voices are storytellers.
They
who
have to be.
Unfold a drama over 9 innings.
Because if all they're doing is describing the play, there's so much downtime that...
I think you write in a baseball voice. I think you do. I think, you know, one of the great things that you do, and I'm not blowing you smoke here, is that you can summon great emotions from 5 words. And I've tried to tell people, you know, do the Schuck intro.
Yeah.
You know, leave something that makes people want to find out what the next sentence is. And, I think some of that for you was probably listening to the great drama of baseball
Yeah,
play
I mean,
out. Yes.
it probably has had an influence. There's
Yes,
no doubt.
sure.
I mean, and it's, but yeah, and I had so many mentors throughout my career, people that I really admired, just talking about how to write, how to have a voice, how to do that. Jim Atwater is one of those biggest influences. Jim Atwater, who was a writer for Sports Illustrated and Time Magazine and an editor at those places, and then was the dean of the School of Journalism. And I still remember sitting in his office one day, and he was teaching a class at Mizzou, and I'm sitting in his office, and we're breaking down an assignment. And he hands me the paper I had turned in, and it's red. And I'm like,
the worst feeling in the world.
And I'm like, am I really this bad? And I think he could tell by the look on my face what I was like thinking. Because he was like, it's not as bad as it looks. And then we talked it through, and he was very complimentary of what I had done, but he also wanted to show me how it could be better. And it was like, okay. And you start to see those things. You start, when you're 20 years old, and you don't have a lot of, I felt like I had a ton of experience at 20, thanks to Don Krim and the crew at the Herald Whig. But at 20, you don't have any experience.
No, you don't.
And so you might think, oh, hey, I've written for a newspaper for several years, part-time. I got this. And then somebody who has written at the highest level of your profession says, this isn't as good as you think.
Right.
But it is good as long as you continue to work your craft like this.
Well, and I think that's lost on people, is everybody thinks they're going to be instantly good at something. There is a debt to be paid to the column. There's a debt to be paid to the desk in television.
Yep.
And if you realize you're not very good at what you do and you're not arrogant about it and you listen, you get better.
Yes.
I spent 3 semesters largely wasted at the University of Southern California.
Yep.
At a journalism school that didn't live up to my expectations, was not the experience that I wanted. But the biggest thing I learned there from a non-sports journalist faculty member was to appreciate Jim Murray. To read his column in the Los Angeles Times every chance you have. The man who said, gentlemen, start your coffins about the Indy 500. I mean, one of the greatest writers I've ever seen. And that taught me that writing is an art.
Yeah.
It's something that we all take for granted when we go into this business, because most idiots like me want to be on TV talking about sports. We don't realize 90% of it is writing. In every phase of what we do.
Yeah, because I think if people watch your highlights, you're talking.
Yeah.
They don't realize you go home and write your script.
I do. I have a storyline in my head that I want to deliver. And it's no different than what you do. It's just we have different sort of theaters to do it in.
No question. And again, that's part of why this works is because it's not all doing it one way.
No.
We have a video component, we have a writing component, we have a photography component, we have a podcast component. I mean, again, the thing I learned over the years is you got to have a voice.
Yes.
And I don't mean a voice of a Robert Mitchum voice.
No.
But you got to have your own voice. Whatever that voice is, however it sounds.
And it has to be unique.
It has to, but it has to be genuine.
Yes.
And I think when we talk about voices, and whether it's music, whether it's sports broadcasting, whether it's some voice you love, I mean, Al Pacino, some people may say doesn't have a great voice. Some people may go, wow, that voice is incredible on TV or on movies, And again, you got to be authentic, you got to be genuine, and you got to have your own voice.
You absolutely do. And I think what's really cool about having done this business now is I'm far enough down the road, you're far enough down the road, that we see new people come into it and fight to find their voice. And when they do find it in this business, that's the most rewarding thing of all. It really is to see somebody become who they're supposed to be in this business.
And let's be honest, at the age we're at and the things we're doing, we're closer to the end than we are the beginning.
What?
It's scary to think about.
It really is, because it feels like just yesterday in some respects.
It really does.
Yeah,
so love the topic.
I'm glad we found our voice tonight with this podcast.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah, see?
So, good stuff. I see on the desk here, you have a Brandon Sproat baseball card.
Thank you, Jeff Enning. This is my first baseball card in many, many moons.
That's cool, though.
So I'm going to go put that in a place of honor.
And hopefully you get to see him pitch in person sometime down the road.
I'm looking very forward to it at some point down the road.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for doing this as well. It's been great.
Yeah, we'll do it again next week.
We will. I think I've got a topic for next week already in mind.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, so we're working ahead.
Nice tease.
There we go.
Appreciate it. This has been another episode of Mud Brothers, Muddy River Sports Podcast, brought to you by CDS Office Technologies. We'll see you next week.
Muddy River Sports. Our home, our sports.